Wells' announcement means that all 9 of the original TARP banks have returned their money. That, of course, has implications for taxpayers as well as President Obama. Bloomberg's Peter Cook is in Washington with more on that angle. Peter?
Well, Scarlett, with Wells' decision to turn in its TARP money, the Treasury Department says more than $185 billion of the $245 billion first invested in banks is now slated to be returned to taxpayers, with $90 billion returned this month alone. Now, before Wells' announcement, Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner projected that taxpayers would earn money on their bank investments, roughly $19 billion. They earned $1.4 billion in dividends from Wells alone, which you'll recall was the bank that fought TARP money hardest initially. Just a few months ago, the Treasury is forecasting a net loss of $76 billion. So you can see there's a change there. But the TARP repayments also mean President Obama has lost arguably his most powerful leverage over America's biggest banks at a time when he's asking them to lend more, pay less to their top executives, and support his push for regulatory reform. He's left with the bully pulpit of the presidency, which he used in his meeting with the bankers yesterday.
Given the difficulty business people are having as lending has declined, and given the exceptional assistance banks received to get them through a difficult time, we expect them to explore every responsible way to help get our economy moving again.
So besides the bully pulpit, the president does have very few options. His most important card, the regulatory reform push he asked the banks to embrace yesterday. Both the House and Senate proposals would give the government new authority over capital standards. The House bill would also threaten to break up big banks if they pose a threat to the system. There's also the Consumer Financial Protection Agency, which so many of these banks oppose. That is a threat he can use against them. And to a limited extent, the government will also have greater control over compensation at banks, the say-on-pay proposals. But none of these proposals are as stringent as the limits imposed by TARP. So the banks are essentially, Eric, under no special obligation to do anything the president asked yesterday. Their biggest risk, they misjudge the public sentiment against them and overplay their hand.